SAMVAAD lecture series. Today is the 12th one in this series, and today's lecture is about an important event that the country is going to witness and go through, the Indian census. We all know that census happens around us, but then it is far distant from our everyday patient care activities. Today's distinguished speaker is going to speak to us, share with us how share with us how this process is done and how important this is for our country to plan the way we spend our money and the way we live and alter the lives and destinies of people in our country. Today's speaker is Dr. A.N. Rajeev, the Deputy Registrar General at the Government of India's Census Department. But before I get ahead of it myself, I call upon the Dean of our institute, Professor Shri, to introduce this distinguished speaker to this audience. Thank you. Over to you, sir, Dr. Srinivasan.
The SCTMST's International Lecture Series, SAMVAAD, is meant to bring stalwarts of various fields of human endeavor to deliver talks to young students and researchers. The aim of the lecture series is to initiate interdisciplinary conversations to inspire innovation. This is the 12th in the series of lectures. The lecture series began on the 24th of June 2022. The inaugural talk was delivered by the eminent neurosurgeon and former editor of the Indian Journal of Medical Ethics, Professor Sunil Pandya. We have had scientists, medical professionals, and public health practitioners eminent in their spheres serving as an inspiration to the SCTMST community. Each of the speakers have brought to us their rich experiences in the area of expertise, tempered by their ability to convey their passion to a multidisciplinary audience our institute represents. The 12th in the series of lectures was delivered by Shri A.N. Rajeev, Deputy Registrar General, Census and Tabulation of the Government of India, currently working in Maharashtra. We are honored to have him to deliver the SAMVAAD lecture. Over to you, Professor Ishwar.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. K. Srinivasan. I invite Dr. Mala Ramanathan from the Achyuta Menon Center for Health Science Studies to introduce our eminent speaker to this audience.
Good evening. It is an honor to introduce our distinguished speaker to the Sri Chitra faculty and staff and students and others who have joined in. Shri A.N. Rajeev is currently the Deputy Registrar General, Census and Tabulation, Directorate of Census Operations, Maharashtra, Mumbai. He is one of the senior Deputy Registrar Generals at the Census of India, which when India is conducting its 16th population census. He has been instrumental in conducting the census of 2011 in the state of Kerala and also in the preparation of the National Population Register in that state. He has also contributed to the sample registration systems, popularly called SRS, and the civil registration systems, popularly known as CRS of Kerala, West Bengal, and Maharashtra. He is presently engaged, among other things, in the preparations for the census 2027. His academic career is distinguished and eminently appropriate for undertaking census operations across a geographically diverse country like India. He completed his master's in statistics from the University of Calicut and master's in business administration from the University of Pondicherry. Shri Rajeev started his career as a researcher at our very own Population Research Center, Thiruvananthapuram. He was a media researcher for the public sector broadcaster All India Radio and Doordarshan for about 14 years. And he has been with the Indian Census for the past 18 years in various capacities as Assistant Director of Census Operations, Joint Director, and now as Deputy Registrar General. He has worked in 5 states and union territories during the course of his service and is well versed with the issues involved, problems and complications related to the conduct of the census. His contribution to the census of 2011 in the state of Kerala is noteworthy, and for this effort he won the President's Census Silver Medal We could not have had a better speaker to introduce the Sri Chitra audience to the process of the Census of India, which has a hoary lineage and has been dynamic throughout its history. Sir, thank you. I'm very grateful that you took up our invitation and are here today. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much. Very good evening for all of you. Dr. Sanjay Behari, Director, then Dr. K. Srinivasan, Dr. Mala Ramanathan, other distinguished faculty and students of Vichitra Technology Institute of Medical Sciences and Technology. I have a presentation, I will be sharing it. And is it visible?
Yes, it's visible, sir. Yeah.
Yes, okay. Then see, today I am talking about Indian census. So Indian census is a huge subject, and I have made an effort to reduce it to 35 minutes to suit the today's lecture series, the timing of it. So we will first talk about the history of census. History of census is very interesting. Census is not a new subject. Actually, it is as old as the states. Wherever the kingdoms were there were some kind of data collection. In ancient Indian context, there is textual evidence for census. In the Arthashastra, there is mentioning about a census conducted during the third century of the period before Christ. And also, as you know, that the story related to the Jesus Christ and his birth has reference to the census conducted in ancient Roman Empire. Similarly, during the medieval period, in the Aini Akbari, during the period of the Mughals, there are mentions about census conducted. Those censuses, the ancient and medieval census, the objective of those census were so limited, just to have a count of able-bodied persons for the purpose of recruitment to the army, and also to understand the resources which could be taxed from various villages. So these limited purpose were served by these ancient censuses. But the modern census starts with the colonial era. During the colonial period, all the colonies, European nations which were colonizing the entire globe, had a competition between them, and they were trying to compare between them. So they should know how many subjects were under their rule. So the colonial census has such an origin, and the same thing applied in Indian census also. Actually, we draw the power of Indian census from the colonial census. The first census conducted in 1872, which was not a perfect census. It was a non-synchronous census conducted across the area at different points of time. And also the princely states did not conduct census in 1872 and 1881 also. I think we get a complete picture in census from 1901 onwards only. So this colonial census also has some rich characteristics attached to them. There were extensive writing of the people of India during various census conducted during the colonial era. For example, in 1931 census, if you see the texts related to the census in the north eastern frontier province, you can see all the issues. Now also we are discussing about the migration and also the floods, all these geographical happenings there, and also the condition of the working class there. So each and every issue related to the population were discussed in those texts which were written after each census. So coming to the 1931 census, up to 1931 census, the method of census was de facto census. I will elaborate it in a little while from now. 1941 census was also very special. Uh, it happened during the course of the Second World War. But the census was taken, many of the publications were not done, and 1941 was the last census of the British period. And after our independence, we had to base on the incomplete census of 1941. So from 1941, between 1941 census and 1951 census, we had the legislation, we got the legislation for census in the independent India. So even before India became a republic, we have the Census Act of 1948 passed in the uh, Constituent Assembly. So we laid a basis for census in 1948, knowing fully well that a poor country like India have to have a basis of census along with the planning. So census and 5-year plans went in tandem, and also large scale assistance was drawn from the Indian census in knowing the context of our population. So 1941 census was the last colonial census. 1951 onwards, Indian census, independent Indian census came. So the method of enumeration was extended de facto method from 1951 onwards. I will elaborate in a while. 1971 census was also important. From 1981 census onwards, we started using electronic gadgets of various kinds. 1991 census, we used computers. 2001 census, we used the completely intelligent character recognition software. We converted the markings made by the enumerator into digital data, then had the tabulation made on that. 2011 also, we had the used the ICR technology. Then now there is going to be a paradigm shift in the technology. I will elaborate it in a while from now. So now, before proceeding further, we will see the essential features of a census. Because census, we know many of the people will think that it's a kind of data collection, and enumerators come to the house, take the data with them and tabulate it and publish. But census is not any other kind of data. It's a data collection apart from any other studies, because it has to satisfy these essential features. First one is individual enumeration. Unless every individual is counted in a country or in a well-defined part of country, that cannot be termed as a census. So we will collect the information of all individuals residing in a particular place or in a country or in a part of a country, so where the census is taken. So this first essential feature is very essential for any data collection to be termed as a census. It is complete enumeration in statistical term. And secondly, the universality within a defined territory. So the this essential feature stipulates that whatever be the terms or definitions we apply, whatever questions we canvass, it should be applied universally within the period, within the territory where we are collecting the census. So we cannot have two different kinds of definitions or questionnaires in two different parts of the same country where the census is taken. So this is the very important essential features. The third one is simultaneity. That means the census should be taken at a particular period of time with a well-defined census movement. So usually our census movement of modern census in India is 1st March, with an exception in 1971 census that was 1st April. But even in 2001, 2011, this reference movement was 00 hours of 1st March. Now we are going to conduct the next census in 2027, where also this census moment is 00 hours of 1st March 2027. So this ensures the simultaneity. But having said that, so there are certain areas in India which are snow laden in Jammu and Kashmir, Himachal Pradesh, and Uttarakhand. These areas, small districts, where we are unable to conduct the census during February and March. So these areas we will conduct a census in the previous September. So this only these areas we are having no simultaneity with the other parts of the country. Then comes the defined periodicity. So defined periodicity is that in statistical parlance, if you get the data at a frequent interval, we will be able to process it, treat it well according to the statistical principles. So from 1881 census onwards, we have been having the defined periodicity ensured. Yeah, after a passage of 10 years, we will conduct the next census. So this was broken in 2021 because of the obvious reasons related to the pandemic. But however, we are conducting the next census in 2027, and it remains to be seen how we will adjust the series in future. So it is not known as on date how the next census would be or when it would be conducted. We will see that. Then comes the sponsorship and legal backing. No census is complete without the sponsorship of the national government. So the national government should take the census. No other person will be able to conduct a census. 1 second, I have some technical glitch here. Yes. Is my screen visible?
Yes, sir, it is visible.
Yes.
Sir.
Okay. Okay.
It is visible, sir.
I had some problem in my laptop only. Okay, no issue. So the sponsorship is also a very important essential feature. This census should be sponsored by the national government, and there must be a legal backing for it. So I have already told that Census Act 1948 gives the legal backing for the census in independent India. Then no census is complete unless and until the data is compiled and published. So unless it is published, it cannot be used for any other any other use where the public is benefited out of it. I have to just point out that the point simultaneity, this is national simultaneity and also international simultaneity should be ensured, because national simultaneity will give the data which has a property we can compare it between the states or between the districts or various localities. Similar is the case of international simultaneity. Normally, after the United Nations came into being, the entire census, national censuses across the globe is more or less regulated by the United Nations through its definitions, through its suggestions. So most of the nations are conducting the census in years either ending in 1 or in ending in 0. That means 2010, 2011 or 2020, 2021, like that. So this ensures a kind of comparability between the nations. Now I would show you this census, the definition of census as per the United Nations. This is nothing but a just abstraction of all those essential features. A population census is the total process of collecting, compiling, evaluating, analyzing, and publishing, or otherwise disseminating demographic, economic, and social data pertaining at a specified time to all persons in a country or in a well delimited part of a country. So this just combines all the essential features of the census. Now I will come to the methods of census. So I have already told you that earlier censuses in colonial period, the census was conducted de facto. De facto census means the census will be conducted in a single night, during a single night, and the census will be taken of all people found during that night in that particular place. So this is de facto. Wherever you are found, you are eligible to be enumerated. Whereas the de jure gives the a local resident only will be able to give his data in that village or in that town. So this has something to do with the residents or the locality. So this method also has lot of issues, because we should have the tracking of the persons where they are living. They should be enumerated there. It gives rise to lot of practical difficulties. So neither of these methods can be followed as it is in the context of our country, because smaller countries can have de facto census conducted by, even in Turkey there is a curfew declared on the night of census. And all people inside their house, the enumerators will visit and enumerate. So that is not possible in a country like ours. So we have adopted the aspects of de jure as well as de facto, and made it as a method called extended de facto method, where we will conduct the census during an extended period, maybe of 3 weeks time. Till 2011 census we had a 3 weeks time. So 3 weeks time we will go to every household, collect the data, and enumerate all the people available with both the facts we will take into account. De facto, if somebody is staying for the entire duration of 21 days, he will be eligible to be enumerated in that particular village or town. Simultaneously, those people who are usual residents of that place, that usual resident means a person who has been staying at least for 6 months or who intends to stay another 6 months, he, any one day of the 3 weeks period he is present means he will be eligible to be enumerated. Suppose a usual resident is not at all available on any of these days, all the 21 days he is away from the usual residence, he will not be eligible to be enumerated there, because it is presumed that he will be elsewhere where he could live all the 21 days, and there he will be eligible to be enumerated. Just this slide gives a slight insight into this method which we are adopting now. So here we are dividing it into normal residents as well as visitors. If a normal resident in a house, he is staying at least one day during the period of enumeration, he will be eligible to be enumerated and will be enumerated in that house. Otherwise, if a visitor present in the household and expected to be away from his normal household and stays for the full period, he will be eligible. Otherwise, if he insists that I should be enumerated here, I have not been enumerated anywhere else, under that circumstances he will be enumerated there. So this is this method is a combination of both the methods and conveniently suitable for our census. Now comes to the legal basis of Indian census. I have already told that Census Act 1948 is there. There are census rules made in 1990, then amended in 2018 and amended in 2022 also. The census is a union subject as per the constitution, and article 246 states at serial number 69 census is mentioned. So the Census Act gives power to the government, present government, to conduct the census. These two amendments in 2018, 2018 amendment was related to the preservation of census records, and 2022 amendment was related to self-enumeration. I will elaborate on both of them. Records, as far as records is concerned, 2018 amendment states that when the census records are completely scanned and electronic records are created, they can be readily disposed after the census is conducted. Earlier, the rule was that the census records should be preserved for a period of 10 years, and just before the next census, these records should be disposed of and certified as such, that it should be pulped so that nobody will get hold of the census records. Now I will just go through the legal basis section wise, important sections. I will just have an elaboration on this. Section 3. The union government has the power to notify its intention to conduct the census. Nobody can say the union government when the census should be conducted. The union government has the full powers to conduct the census whenever it likes. So this intention of the union government can be notified. For the 2027 census, now the intention has already been published. Then section 4 gives the power to the union government as well as the officers appointed under it for appointment of census functionaries. So here the agency role of the state governments and UT administration also comes into play. So section 4 gives the power to the census hierarchy to appoint census functionaries. Then section 8, power to ask questions in a schedule and to get the information. So there is a legal duty of all respondents to give information. So no other data collection, nobody can compel anybody to give any information. But in census, if the census enumerator asks a question which is published question, then the respondent is duty bound, legally bound to answer and give the information truthfully to the best of his information and knowledge. Then there is a section 11 which gives the penalties for violation of provisions. So these are stringent penalty provisions are there. 3 years imprisonment is there for major violations. Then there is a section 15 which is also very important. This gives a confidentiality provision. Census data is confidential in nature. When it is collected, it cannot be divulged to anybody and it will not be taken as an evidence in any court of law, which protects the respondent from divulging his information and losing his information, and it cannot be taken as an evidence in any court of law. So I have already told about the disposal of records. Now comes the self-enumeration. The amendment in 2022 gives power to every person to enumerate himself, so that electronically through using the web portal, anybody can enumerate himself in census. So the census, as you know, has two phases. First phase is house listing and housing census, which creates a frame for the more important part, that is phase 2, that is population enumeration. And also the first phase gives valuable data on the housing condition, amenities and assets available to the public. So just I will rush through the questions canvassed in phase 1 and phase 2. Before that, there is the preparatory works going on. This is a huge long list of items of work. So the jurisdictional changes happening to the various parts of the country, that means the states, the districts, then villages, towns, all these changes happening during the course of the decade will be collected. Then the frame will be finalized, urban agglomerations will be formed, Pre-test of census will be conducted. Then there will be technical advisory committee meetings. Questions will be finalized. The boundaries will be frozen and the date notified. The reference date and time of census will be notified. Census frame will be finalized. Census hierarchy will be appointed. Stationary, logistical arrangements, printing of manuals, schedules, all this will be done. Then the house listing and housing census will be conducted. Then the data will be abstracted and published. So return data collection is also important. So then comes the second phase. There the post enumeration survey of house listing operation will be conducted. This is also very important. Post enumeration survey gives the estimate of omission in census, because census is supposed to be conducted without omission or duplication. This gives an estimate for the omission we are having during after the actual census is conducted, house listing operation is conducted. This post enumeration survey will be conducted. Then the bridge document, that is the abridged house list, will be prepared. Enumeration in snow bound areas will be conducted, non-synchronous areas. Then special areas and special populations will be canvassed for the preparation will be done. Then training of the hierarchy for the population enumeration will be done. Publicity measures will be there. Administrative meetings, printing and supply of logistics, population enumeration will be conducted. A revisional round will be conducted. Revisional round, I should say about a revisional round, because I told you that 3-week period the enumeration will be done. Then comes, after the 3-week period, week is completed, then comes the reference moment, that is 00 hours of 1st March. So after the 1st March, the enumerator will again visit during the course of 5 days, 1st March to 5th March. That is, I am telling in 2011 and in coming 2027, the enumerator will again revisit each and every household and revise the data, whether any new baby has been born or any person has expired or any person has gone out without staying the full period, any visitor. All these data will be revised. That is called the revisional round. Then the data will be abstracted and compiled and the provisional population figures will be published. Then here also during the population enumeration, the post enumeration survey will be conducted. The data will be processed, then content and coverage check of that and data validation will be done. This content and coverage check, I must say that in the primary census abstract, that is the main data output of census. The primary census abstract don't have many information. It gives primary information, that is a population bifurcated into male and female and other transgenders. Then child population, 0 to 6 population, literacy, then the worker category, then there will be the scheduled caste and scheduled tribe status. This is a primary census abstract which is available for the nation, for the states, for this district, and up to the level of village and ward of town it is available. So with the same definition, you will get this data set across the nation for all levels, till the village in a rural area and a ward of town in a town or city. Okay, for this one, before this primary census abstract is published, which gives the perimeter. Actually, primary census abstract is the perimeter we set for all other data sets. So the tallying will be done to the primary census abstract. So this is the most important and very complicated thing to publish. So before this primary census abstract is published, the coverage check and content check will be done. So this is a very extensive effort done by the Census Commissioner's Office and all the directorates of census. We will collaborate this data, compare it with the previous censuses. We will compare it with other publications, other sample surveys. We will do an extensive, thorough checking of the data to see whether it is correct in our understanding. So after doing this primary census abstract coverage and content check, then we will have the publication done. So after publication, data, extensive data dissemination will be done. With this, the entire census work will be completed, and again the work for the next census will be started. So these three, I have already talked about the data validation, content and coverage check, and also mentioned about the post-enumeration surveys. Post-enumeration surveys are done for both the phases, where we will give an estimate of error or omission in census. So normally the error of omission in Indian census is below that is prescribed by the United Nations. And one more aspect that is related to the pre-test. So pre-test is a sample survey conducted before the census is actually undertaken. So in the pre-test is a mini census. That means a sample areas are selected, and the entire methodology, definitions, questions, technology, everything will be tested in pre-test, so that we will get a know about how effective are our definitions, how effective are our questions, how effective are the technology employed, so how fast we could have the data compiled, and how what all are the difficulties involved in the field work. So this pretest will be conducted before the actual census. Now I will just rush through the questions to have an understanding of the census questionnaire. This I am taking for 2011 census only, because the 27 census has not been published so far. It will be published very soon. But I will go through these questions, which will give you a feel of what the census questions look like, how it looks like. So these building numbers, because we have extensive data published on buildings, census houses, then predominant material of floor, wall, roof, then use of the census house, condition of the census house, then number of persons residing in the house, then the name of the head of the household, then sex, gender of the household head, then the status of SC, ST or other. Because all these categorizations we will publish the disintegrated data for the housing census. Then ownership status of house, then number of dwelling rooms, married couple residing in the house, then main source of drinking water, availability of drinking water source, whether it is far or near, what all are the sources, whether it is hygienic or not, then main source of lighting, then latrine within the premises, if whether the latrine is within the premises or it is away, then type of latrine facility, then wastewater, how it is connected, outlet is connected, then bathing facility, whether it is available within the premise or is it far away, then availability of kitchen, fuel used for kitchen, then whether the household has radio, transistor, television, computer, laptop, telephone, mobile phone, bicycle, scooter, motorcycle, moped, car, jeep, van, availability of banking service, whether this household possesses all these. So these 35 columns are there, and it publishes an extensive variety of data broken into SC/ST household separately, slum household separately, female headed household separately. So all sorts of tabulations are coming out of the housing census. It is already available for public consumption. Then comes the population enumeration. It has economic data, it has sociologic data, it has cultural data, it has demographic data. So I'll just go through this. Gender is collected, age is collected. So age, sex, cross tabulations are published at all levels. Then marital status is there, age at marriage. It is also a very important demographic question. Then religion. Then scheduled caste, scheduled tribe. Bifurcation is there. Then disability data is there in census. Mother tongue data, literacy status, education status, then status of attendance in education institutions, then worker, whether any time one person has worked or not, during last year have you got any work, then category of the economic activity in which he is engaged in, then the occupation category. So industrial classifications and occupation category wise category tables are available. Then industry, trade or service, then class of worker, whether it's a main worker or marginal worker or non-worker. Then non-economic activity, if you are not a worker, what other work you are doing, are you a student, are you a housewife, like that. Then whether you are seeking or available for work, for those who are unemployed, whether they are ready to work. Then how you travel to the place of work. Then comes the migration particulars we were talking about earlier. Then place of birth, migration by place of birth is very important. Then place of last residence, migration by place of last residence. Then reason for the migration. Then duration of stay since migration. So the duration we will get a table 0 to 9 years, 0 to 8 years, like that. Year wise table we can get of migration. Then comes the fertility questions, children surviving, children ever born. So we will get the indirect mortality here. Then comes the number of children born alive during the last 1 year, current fertility question. So these 29 questions covers the second phase of more important population enumeration phase. So these tables are published. So I will rush through the major publications. First one I have already elaborated, primary census abstract, which is the outer perimeter of the data. Then comes village town directory and DCHB. This is a very important publication. District census handbook is published for every district in India, which is a data mine for that district. Before you go to study any character, any aspect of the population in a district, you should have first the district census handbook of the latest census, which will guide you in umpteen number of ways. Then comes the village town directory, which is also an important document which gives the entire details of all the villages and towns in the district. Then comes the general population tables, A series tables, which are generally related to the count of population. Then comes the economics tables. I have already elaborated it during the questions. That is workers. Such tables are coming in B series. Then comes the socio-cultural tables, linguistic tables are there. All these tables are coming in cultural tables. Education is there, language is there. Then migration tables, all those questions by place of birth and place of last residence, and lot of cross tabulate, cross characteristics tabulations in D series. Then fertility tables, then housing tables. Housing tables H series is completely from the housing census. That is the first phase of the census. Now comes the special tables on scheduled castes and scheduled tribes, because that is very important, because the it is at variance with the general population. So many characteristics, there are variance between the scheduled tribes, and the general category. So we should know how much variation is there, how these data sets are behaving. So we should have the special tables on SCST. Then maps and atlas. For all the data sets, there are maps and atlas published from census. Then finally, very important thing, suppose a researcher should get the micro level data, that is individual data. I have already told you that section 15 protects the individual identity. So no data can be divulged or copied or given to anybody. So this is a kind of anonymized data. Sample data, 1% data, anonymized data is available, which is masked data, which is given through the workstations, registered workstations we will give. And nearest in Kerala, in Trivandrum, the demography department of Kerala University has the workstation. So then comes the larger disaggregations based on jurisdictional entities. So we have tables at the national level, state, UT level. Most of the data are available in district level. Primary census abstracts and many data are available at a sub-district level, tehsil level also. Then statutory towns are there, municipal corporations, municipalities, all other towns, small towns, nagar panchayats, all sorts of towns. We have data. Then census towns. Census town is nothing but a village but has urban characteristics, minimum 5,000 population, then a density of 400 persons per square kilometer. Then 75% of the male main workers are engaged in pursuits other than agriculture. That is the definition for census town. So we have data for census towns and outgrowths of towns. So many towns have outgrowths across the border, and it remains in the rural area, but it is an outgrowth. For example, you will be understanding that if I tell that in 2001 census, Kazhakkottam was an outgrowth of Municipal Corporation of Trivandrum. So now it comes under the city. But earlier, once upon a time, Kazhakkottam was an outgrowth because it was in the rural area. That is an example. Then village level data, panchayat data, all these data levels of publications are there. PCA in Kerala and several other states are published at a panchayat level also, because village and panchayats are not concentric. Then wards of town, wards of panchayats, these levels are there. Then the urban rural bifurcation classification are there. Urban is for statutory towns, census towns, outgrowths. Then urban agglomerations also. Urban agglomeration is nothing but a continuous spread of the urban. Then wards of town. These comes under the urban disaggregation. Then rural villages, panchayats and wards of panchayats. So these sets of data are available. There is a tabulation plan for every census that is published by the Census Commissioner's office. It is available in the website also. So it will give you an insight what all are the tables available in census. Then other disaggregations, gender, age. So you will get the age sex breakup. Then religion, educational level, marriage status, industrial category, category of worker and economic activity, caste, tribe status, then type of education institutions attended, literacy status, disability data. You have this disability data, even mental disability, other physical disability. The categorization is also there. Then age at marriage, duration of marriage, mother tongue, place of birth, duration of residence, place of last residence. All these data, parity and total children ever born in fertility tables, number of birth last year, that is current fertility and birth order, then number of children surviving, then household size. All these characteristics are there.
Sir, will
So,
you wind up so that us young students are waiting to ask some questions
yes,
also?
okay. So this, I think I have covered most of the things. This policy relevance, you can see that census is basically used for very major use, like that. One, you can name that the reservation is based on Indian census. Linguistic states were formed on the basis of the data from Indian census. Constituencies are formed on the basis of Indian census. So Indian census data is used in more than one way, which touches the life of everybody residing in our great nation. This is it. I had a bigger presentation, only just one thing I have to say. Last slide, as a last slide, new features of census 2027. So in 2027, we have several new features. This is a digital census using web applications and mobile phones. So the data will be collected at the directly from the doorstep to the central server. The data is transferred so that the time consumed for having the data tabulation will be minimized and publication will be fastened up. So then pre-coding of answers, so that will also considerably reduce the time lag. Then there is self-enumeration. I have already mentioned about that. Then finally, there is a caste census. That means we are now conducting the census two sets, that is scheduled castes and scheduled tribes only. So far in the independence Indian census we have canvassed. Till 1931 there were a kind of caste enumeration. Now for the first time the government has decided to have the caste census in the during the second phase of the census. So this is what I have to say. I will take the questions now. Thank you very much.
I invite Dr. Srinivasan to oversee the process of questions and answers, sir.
Yeah. Thank you, ma'am. And thanks a lot for the detailed process of census enumeration. We being in the public health, we know the difficulties actually we face in. And now the house is open for questions and comments.
Sir, can I start the question? I have a small question, Rajeev.
Yeah, yes, madam. Yes,
Sir,
please.
you were talking about post-enumeration checks. Like they will
Surveys.
come one round in the census before February 28th, but after 5 days, again, they will come and verify some things and all that. So usually in India, sir, when they do post-enumeration checks, what is the extent of, missing things that, I mean, proportion of a percentage of missing persons who get added are how, I mean, to what extent does the post enumeration check actually correct our head count, sir?
Yeah, I used two terms. One is revisional round. Don't mistake it from post enumeration survey. Revisional round is part of census that the count is actually referenced with reference to the census moment. That is 5-day work. That is from 1st March to 5th March. That is not post enumeration survey. That is the revisional round. Post enumeration survey is independent sample surveys conducted after each phase, that is first phase and second phase, in sample units. And till last census the omission is around 3%. I think it is below the prescribed omission rate prescribed by the United Nations, 3%. That this in the sample area, sample enumeration blocks, the census will be conducted afresh. It is not that one question will be tested or second question just counting, or we will canvass the same schedule afresh by another person, then compare the omission. So that is what is happening. So slight variation due to the time lapse also will happen, but still less than 3% is our omission rate.
Yes, sir, I understood the difference because there will be some births and deaths which occur during the time. So there is a need to reference it to the zero hours of 1st of March of the census year. That I understood. But very often our students don't understand the importance of that post enumeration check, which was why I asked that question about post enumeration. The rigor of the census, I wanted for them to understand how carefully and conscientiously the census officers operate to give us our head counts. I wanted them to understand, which was why I asked that question. Thank you very much, sir.
Yes.
So, thank you, sir, for the wonderful presentation. Say, supposing in a remote village, somebody doesn't actually go to different houses and just misses out everything and just keeps only a few people he will just take. How do you prevent that from happening?
First of all, it cannot happen because the government officer, that is Tahsildar, is primary responsible person for a Tahsil. Okay, so we have extensive methods to have a understanding who is appointed where, which block. We first divide the entire area into convenient blocks, each earmarked to a particular enumerator. Suppose that particular enumerator is not bringing the data, we will definitely, the charge officer will know. That is first way. And secondly, there will be complaints given from the field itself, especially in the urban area, rural also. And thirdly, for every enumerator, 6 enumerators, there is a supervisor. So the supervisor is also responsible for the accuracy of the data. So the supervisor will visit every enumerator while he is on duty in the field, and he will check the abstracts after the work is completed. So schedules also, abstracts also. Now it is even more convenient because we will know every day the progress of the work because it is conducted electronically. So the data will be fed every day into the server, and we will be knowing who is lacking, who is not doing the work. So it is not that difficult to ensure.
Thank you. And the second thing is when national policies are deciding, budget allocation and all that, are they really asking you to come and present the census to the national government?
Census will be presented. Actually, it will be presented at the highest level before the primary census abstract is published. It will be presented to the cabinet, and it should be presented to the highest level. But however, every budget or every other action, once it is published, the census figures will be available in the website. We will have our publications. Till last census, we have published a lot of books, lot of publications. Standard publications are there. Provisional population totals, paper 1, paper 2, then primary census abstract, lot of books are there. So these publications are also there, and the website will be posted with all these data which is published. So once it is thrown to the public domain, there is no more presentation is required. So that any department will take from our website and use for their whatever use.
Sir, I have one question. You said that there's a practice of discarding the data. Like in the
Yes.
past, you used to hold it for 10 years. What are the
Yes.
benefits and limitations of the change in this method?
First of all, why we kept the data for 10 years? That during the period there could be litigations where the individual data may not be subjected to scrutiny, but still we may have to fall back, refer what happened, what went wrong, or where we were right, or what is the matter of the case. So these litigations have prevented us from disposing the records before the next census. But at some point of time, you have to dispose it of. So till 1990, the rules were framed. The census records were accumulated in various locations. So it was a huge difficulty for the administrative buildings to function. So then 1990, it was decided once and for all that before the next census, we will dispose it of once it is 10 years old. So all these records were disposed of. Then now extensive electronic records are created. Every schedule or every data is available in electronic mode. So there is no prospect of keeping the records, physical records anymore. So that rule was amended that we will dispose it of after making the electronic records.
Hi, sir. I have a question.
Please go
Yes.
ahead. Please go ahead.
Sir. Since census and civil registration data are published for public use, how does the office ensures that individual level privacy is protected?
You are talking about census and civil registration, no? Civil registration. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Civil registration data has a separate legal basis. It is governed by the Registration of Birth and Death Act and Rules of 1969 and amended from time to time till 2023. So, civil registration is completely different. civil registration data can be shared. Now, as per the amendment, latest amendment, CRS birth or death data should be shared with a lot of authorities. I think it is section 4 or 5. It elaborates the authorities with which this data should be shared. That is Aadhaar, then election department, lot of departments. So there is no privacy attached to civil registration data as such. So your data is not protected that way by the act or rules. But in census, your individual data has no relevance once it is merged into the totality of the data of that village or ward. So you don't have any particular, you cannot take out your data and show it to somebody. Somebody does that, he can be punished by 3 years imprisonment. So it is as simple as this. So census and civil registration are different matters governed by different acts and rules. So it has different approaches.
Thank you. Yeah. Any more questions?
Okay. Sir, it looks like there are no more questions. Thank you, Srinivasan, sir. It is my duty now to propose a vote of thanks. On my own behalf, on behalf of Sri Chitra Tirunal Institute for Medical Sciences and Technology, I'm really very grateful to Shri A.N. Rajeev, sir, for agreeing to deliver the 12th SAMVAAD lecture. I found him visiting my alma mater, IIPS in Mumbai, and I contacted him to give this lecture, and he consented without a moment's hesitation. And as he just now told us all, this is a very, very busy time for the census functionaries, because come September, the non-synchronous component of the house listing will start. So the task of conducting the census, as you just now heard, is particularly because the current one is a departure from past censuses, is an onerous one, and yet he has agreed to deliver this talk on a topic that is very relevant, because we are standing on the eve of the next head count for the whole Indian population, all 1.4 billion of us. Sir, I'm extremely grateful to you for agreeing to give this lecture in your own sincere and engaging style. This SAMVAAD lecture series was initiated at the behest of our director, Professor Sanjay Bihari, who remains our patron, supportive of all our endeavors. Without his helpful suggestions, we would not have benefited from the wide range of exposure that the SAMVAAD series have brought to us. Behind the screens, we have Sri Chitra Tirunal Institute's computer division, Mrs. Geeta and Mr. Suresh Kumar, and their team, who have supported the SAMVAAD lecture series from its initiation. The Dean, Dr. K. Srinivasan, and Professor Ishwar are my compatriots, supporting the lecture series, each in their own way. I place on record my gratitude to both of them for facilitating the SAMVAAD lecture with their usual flair and efficiency. Thank you very much. Last but not the least, this lecture series reaches out to audience within and outside SCTI University, and many of our illustrious alumni who have joined us today, who make an effort to listen and engage. Without them, the series would not be what it is. We are always energized by their engagement, both now and subsequently through the YouTube link that remains available on our website. Thank you all, and I look forward to your continued support. Good evening and Jai Hind.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.